Mr. Lynch, lives only be live forever. Good morning, Miss Simple, Simple, or simply, 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 David. It's March 24th, so really only 8 days, 8 days to the end of this 7, 8 days at the end of this March 26, 2026, it's Tuesday enabled, today our sky once again, so in Italy it's an adjective, it's equivalent to variable practically, it's an adjective that means sunny or clear day, alternating with or two clouds or cloudy scatters in general. In fact it's the case of the day, perhaps let's say mostly cloudy at general in middle, and is also one golden leave, perhaps not even you consider prima, in genere is one at the same time also simile now, or vice versa. It's simile now. This is one, also one the golden leave in period. Marivi and cold, and it's area finale 13 and 29 minutes. 26 minus 17 Celsius means really soft dalla kinesi periods, because soft is characterized for the spring periods in the step for the series consider effect chanter as for years, also June 17 effect to overcome for years, but the past last past summer, last past autumn, also last past winter particular, winter garden winter, previous as we enter in Italy on December 29 particular on 16 and 40 p.m. in Italy, but now also for the spring overcome them, and to precise here practically on last March 20 it was Friday, and to be precise at 10:01 in Italy, where as absolutely io mi fico proprio un po' in cinese e così indeed. I'm sure that Tracy, the rising society sometimes propose effective precaution to Chinese, spectrum perhaps paradox to me, e those who enter the issues for the summer, the winter, the summer, the autumn, the winter, since the fact that for the summer I use also adjective hot, for the autumn, the adjective soft, for the winter. For the autumn, once again, the adjective soft, for the winter, the adjective cool, so that in general, the seasons to be the classic adjective. As regard the degrees, at least free was nothing was anything to absolutely uncomplain. It's not easy or not, but for me, as for me, it's good. No, in fact, because I say this because in last 10 days, practically, it's even if we enter in spring and a few days ago, it's still cold, and so for this I don't feel cold. So absolutely, I say also repeat always in the winter weather. Also, I always say that I don't know for sure più volente think or not, because in fact I feel cold, volente think yes or no dipende da me, ma think anche 95% I feel cold. However, in general, for me, this period good. Instead, I'm scatto sotto sfiangiato I don't know if I can say just for it's good not completely. In fact, can be some afternoon so bisa. In verità, finché te ne partecipi, si visto ci si figura. Sicuramente che fai nel 20 Celsius. Ma ricordi in questa atmosfera, ci vedi. Se ci vuoi vedi. Yes, se cortine sono se cortine in genere, se mi intentamente, aspetta, se lo sono mettere poi solo se cortine si da cortine, ora quando si è cortine in genere, se mi ripete intentamente ci usa most perfect, si suppose, fa che usate la vita si scaglia, se vita mid, buff, clear, cloudy, according, considering terms last days, considering according to read for today, consumer sensation, I think it's possible most sure that later in Italy probably really early after might became it's point to think mostly slide totally, if not totally cloudy, also that but in fact a few months back from on one side and one and I think very close. Let's see what happens. But the Swiss numbers went engineers and wizards, magicians and wizards, sequence Swiss in clear, second scale today, but yeah. well band, perhaps better on the contract band, well. Adesso, allora, one of them, well band well, attualmente, su sì, su. Solo from di sada mi dico, lui sa curtino, questo è questo lavoro, forse, ma ne parte, guardate, porzi, insomma, si dice, in fact, this is a third curtino, adesso, all the difference color of flowers, in fact, of the flowers, myself, the colors of the second flowers, myself, was where yellow gold color, where yellow gold color of stone was pink, and the color of this third curtino is not to be similar to the color of the first pink, are really close, in fact, I'm not sure if you can see, notice, or them is flowers really well, the shot near me, I think, on one side I think, oh yes. Or if not, even better, should be better, shot for the first part of the video, which Felucia showed you, the scatter Singer from this. Adam mi dico, quindi se mi ricordo, Rapson non è su del classico mi dico, quindi il classico mi ricordo. Sbatto bene, resource in the room. Avevo from, mi dico, lui non ti curti in Francia, non curti in Francia, si curti in Saston, ma magari ti sembra che sul Berti, vedere se partivo vedere Berti. Non le vorrei, lo so, non si usa, da preus tu usa beautiful great curtino, beautiful painted with bench, tu ipello pazzo, fa quando preus tu mi curtino, tu le things, che metti si ride una come, secondo se ti si reporta, poi in terra, festivamente proprio fortuna, quando vediamo si ride come se ci avevano, vabbè, io scusi, ti ridi, really well, se mi shot, so sciolti bene, così, curtino. Just before, in some cases, the first part of the video, which for also shoot you the rest with a scat exchange from classico mitico win, classico mitico room. Over perspective, also with a shot, similar, a shot of imminente se fosse basically about the two, should be in about two, but fino a 8 ore sulle montazioni, e for the scrutiny bit, usually beautiful painted bench, we bench is up to for the first scrutiny story, forza cara curtini, fente exactly, cioè la cara curtini si stili, ancora mi dice, c'hanno quando se ne vediamo ci cioè, also seeing this shot so related to the fact, buff one days, and the close shot, non so quando ma trovare quando che si measure, non si vede lì speech senza schisi si vorrebbe scrutare biti più che routine mi piace il pente più blanche rapso sono che si potrebbe essere routine storia guarda cosa cara routine e infatti sono che si dentro mi exactly e now sono che si reddit speech senza fortune su routine sarebbe attribuite expression sono che si for first times e se vedete lite speech senza disease but also always better visible for me needs sentiriti quindi si shot ti si può insegnare original shot. Regarding Richard, to activism, fantastic activism, this last October. Si importazione bisogna parte se tu sulle attivism, ma non si rende test picture senza uso forte ultimo sovrite per sovali o sovrite. Sarebbe one saying, but also always better visible for me in its sensitivity, in this shot, at si consimiti con la genere shot. Infatti, nel primo video col keyboard, Magic 640 PG 625 also che sono miti con la genere shot. This week soffrendo lo shot, fact finito già 24, magari in su solo birthday Michael Ontke, the legendary great Michael Ontke also known as to pick Sheriff's Department Ritruma, one also known the country because as you know the one and the same, and magari things to this go dedicated in Florida Michael Branch, a piece dedicated to track Josie and True and from the Bricks, but also dedicated to interpretation of this track, beautiful masterpiece for me, and also dedicated to Master Angelo Parlamenti, 80 birthday to the ago, also Mitch Lynch, 80th birthday soon lost, cioè 10th way, che si recommend the channel for this video, the interpretation, adesso is a shot with and a new shot which you can see a qual condition of the keyboard, but a qual condition since December 2nd, 2024, in fact, since the problem, mi problem l'effetto di sonetto di display, also the problem better than the problem, the mean point effect, repeat effect, the sonetto di display, one day sono evitato fix it. E da questi mondi people follow the channel, poi si getting it ora. Sono bene mesi. Sono myself, lots of case and finally hope you all have a great breakfast. Today it's late in general, also nice to late me information, and if significant disaster December 31, in fact, netto occasion for this time, it's late in general for the people, but all for my record, but not at all for my house. For my house, so kind of stuff for my to make breakfast, but say in the winter period between December and January, and less since February, less both since months in April, so pratically less since the spring until once again next December and January, but similar it's late. Ma tempo voi impulsi a sferire Dragon Edge insieme a tutti questi stanno con Black Sfinterne si mette stai scritta a ti fientare mettere in chimica ti fientare in parte metti così sono sempre tre quelli sì su stretch ma allora ti ripeto to the close carriera le tue sono se si mettono no di it's just for just roll obviously just in quote 29 minutes but important riuscisse a mettere senza mai uso di forza una million and as we always say breakfast some most beautiful food absolutely and as you know since at 25 morning on yes should be more money I was sullo sto conto si think like effect of the it's want new reason friend to soon quick but breakfast si guarda da riso e si pratica essere new reason six reason the beautiful blue, dark blue and white and for the girls remember so forte so forte blue and white significa che sia light blue and white and from aspects also first one second nostro report first reason second nostro report and for as regarding me time I think I'm using it in week of 16 for 16 15 for the go it should be 16 for the go and all things that perhaps if you follow me in particular for the report I think one because no one watch any other my videos other my or weather reports and whenever you should be done prima ti music to it one year one time solamente vediamo ci bet su bet presidente dei just as the things in speech should you days on Friday and for example shots of business ci go talk about more money so at some snu and from the other business are my favorite fact that I'm will combo so visual business and serious I think that one best to the kind of chocolate chip cookies or the cookies chips chocolate chips hai fatto un mistake questo fatto bisco Mr. Lynch in particolare tu in queste volete red and if sono si porta milk fact su shot sono le 20 coffee così ma tu sei script shop fai consumare for shot più che notate sono lasciato francamente video sto shot in class think animon sets non si chiede lo sto conto should be this in the video so non ci penso bene devo so more and quick si finisce down si once is brutti once think 3 anni in 4 5 6 years as pratically esatto che siamo si dice non fa vincere before a bit should be in the months essere usciti che lo sto conto usciti di da time via sono in tanti questo better and so since at the moment te pattern insert it once again milk super news e uniti sul techniques back pass questa bomba sempre partiva mega bomba penso che se la spiegato il gioco se fu fatto morte mia sotto corsa mi finito questo time se avete video e infatti non so se tu le cose back pass questa mega bomba se non ti chiedi se qualsiasi in infrabbio sia stare con evitare in sigas finché se non per posizione a posto che seguo di pallante prese per posizione per tingere questo per posizione Bingoso. Attraverso the position in Italian per la short species. Fa cosa? A due come giù. Because they are really super bad. Adesso tomorrow si può fare un traffico, non ti tomorrow con il lepe. Now, what's